Thought I'd do an update, post another video since I've got the main line laid in through Grangeville. So what we'll do here is we'll jump to the eastern side of town. So my layout's a proto freelance based off the premises at the Northern Pacific and then subsequently BN. Laid track through Lewistown up into the Camas, and then continued south down into Boise through some geography that probably in reality wouldn't support any railroading, but it's a proto freelance layout, and I'm not a cartographer, so we'll just keep it. That's kind of premises. So what you see here, this is the east end of town. This would actually be the terminus of the second sub on the Camas. So modeling some of the actual elevator area in Camas. But as we continue west, we've got a double track. The passing siding turns into double track here. I've got a yard lead, so I'm going to model a west yard in Grangeville just to allow sorting of cars, facilitating operations. So this will be the 3-track yard right in here. And then a crossover here, I put a crossover in, and this will allow switching Idapine lumber without fouling the main. So this gives the ability to continue to run trains through Grangeville while the local or the turn is switching Idapine lumber. So we'll just continue west, and then there's a west end yard lead coming into the yard, and then just before you leave Grangeville, it turns back into a single track. So if you go through the wall there, that'll on the other ends pop you out in the other room and you're in Fenn. So what I've got here is this will be Idapine lumber. I'm going to model that colossal pile there. Kind of represents the lumber shed where they loaded boxcars and center beams and bulkheads. And then the other track, I think is a chip track. I've seen it labeled as a chip track on some drawings, and then the chip loader in this area on others. So do a little more research and before I determine the final track layout and based off where the chip loader was on the prototype. So when you go in the back corner, that's going to be Idaho lime. So Idaho lime was an industry that went up, I think in the 80s, and they did run some cars out of there of lime before they shut down. So be Idaho lime in the corner, and then transition over to the yard. I'm going to relocate McGregor fertilizer, which was on the west end of Grangeville as you came in. So I just relocated that. There'll be a fertilizer dealer here. And then here's a fictional brewery. This is going to be Grangeville Brewing Company. This was Alina Kugel's brewery on a previous layout. I've got a lot of beer callers, and I like beer, so I wanted to have a brewery. So essentially the west side of Grangeville is just freelanced. And so I've got the brewery in there. So I'm not sure the final track layout here because you enter the brewery from this side. It presents some challenges. So I'm going to play with the final track layout on this side, but I have time. These are all fast track. If you go to fast track, you can print down N scale turnout templates. You cut them out and they're really good for kind of brainstorming and laying out ideas on your layout. So that's the west side of town. And then as you come out of what I think I'm going to just call West Yard or Grangeville Yard, you come into what is the elevator district in Grangeville. So this is where I start picking up and modeling it prototypical, or close to the prototype. So it comes in here, and this is going to be the elevator district. So I'm going to model all 4 tracks through the elevator district. And what you see here, I make foam core mock-ups. They're really good because they allow you to spatially look at things on a layout, and then they fill in until you make a scratch-built structure in there. So these are that's all Stegner grain elevators on the far end. And so what I'll do is I'll probably cut those mock-ups in half so they kind of fit as a flat on the backdrop, and then maybe push that final track back a little bit more towards the backdrop. So, and then on the other south side, you got Union Elevator Company. Those cardboard boxes are kind of the templates for the footprint for the elevator. Just to the left of that left-sided rectangular cardboard, there's a grain bin, and then that's the ammonia track. And so a model ammonia track, and then this is Stegner grain. I think some places call it a seed house. So, and this is at about 70%, and then on the end there'll be some elevator bins and so forth. So, and then the end of the south track had a loading ramp and a dock on it, and so I'll model those in there also. So, and then what you see, there's a kind of a runaround track that goes around the depot. I think there was a fuel dealer and some stock pens back there in the early days of the Camas. And then before the BN merger, apparently they ripped down the Northern Pacific Standard Depot and kind of put a prefab building in there. So that's based off some plans I found online, and that's just a mock-up of the actual depot in Grangeville. So, and then as you continue to the east, you've got, this used to be Inland Lumber. This was shut down by the time of the mid-'80s by the RI model, but what I'll do is I'm gonna actually model the buildings, and then it's gonna be inland cabinets. So we'll still be able to push some boxcars and so forth in there and use it during operations, not have it abandoned. And then kind of the last industry was the LPG dealer that was on this far side, and might have been Idaho Power Line. I don't remember the name of the company off the top of my head, but so that's the last industry here. It'll be the LPG dealer. So that's kind of an update on where we stand for Grangeville. I'm still going to probably toy around with the final track schematics, but before I put the yard tracks in and so forth. So, and then the goal next month is to work on that other side of that little tunnel through the wall and get track laid in fen. And once the track is laid in fen, the lower level will have complete track laid from New Craig at the end of the helix all the way to staging that represents Boise.